Yes, we accept you. This is something that growing up, my parents made sure that I knew in every single way, shape, and form, and every single day in my life. Because when they had a little girl, they knew that they wouldn't dare let her grow up without knowing her worth. See, I had the privilege of growing up in a home that taught me glass ceilings only exist if I allow for them to. And I grew up believing that regardless of who I was or who I became, I would show up to the world and say, hey, I'm here to make a difference. And the world would scream back, yes, we accept you. And I believed that until I met the harsh reality of beauty standards. See, ideal beauty is this entity which requires or possesses features that are widely attributed to beauty in a particular culture for perfection. And perfection is a key word that allows for these beauty standards to exist because everyone is striving for that perfection, but nobody actually has any idea of what it is, just that it's incredibly difficult to achieve. But the truth is that it's impossible to achieve. So one day I was 14 years old and I was standing in front of a mirror, incredibly happy with who I was becoming. And the next I stood in front of a mirror and I picked out every single flaw, every single opportunity for missymmetry, and every area where I was considered aesthetically unpleasing. But it wasn't necessarily always the voice of other people that made me feel as if my worth was a direct correlation with my image, but it was that voice inside of my head that continued to beat down on me. And I had no idea where it came from, but it was there and it was existent. See, my idea is that we're born with the ability to love ourselves. But as we grow older, we're molded in this way that makes us fall out of love with ourselves. And my biggest fear is that if we don't change the ideals that surround beauty, we're going to lose the essence of just what it is to be human and in the moment. These are my friends. And like I said, a day and a half ago, I had the privilege to walk across the stage with them. And I have never been so proud of a group of people because they are kind and intelligent and bold, and they are athletes. And every single day, they make me want to strive to be the best person possible. And though you don't have the privilege of knowing these individuals, people just like them exist all around you. They're in every town. They're in every state. They're in every one of our lives. And that is why when it came time to do my senior art project, I wanted to focus it around them. Because to me, they're the most beautiful masterpieces in my own life. So one by one, I took my friends into a room and I stuck them in front of a camera and I made them as vulnerable as I possibly could. And I did what I always asked them. I asked them about beauty. The first question that I asked them is, what do you think the definition of beauty was? And immediately they said, well, I know what it is, but society says that it's something different. And if I could, I would change it. Because the ideals that surround beauty that we have, they are wrong and they are incorrect, and I don't stand for them. And I thought, yeah, awesome. I'm going to get great responses from you guys. The second thing that I asked them was that, do you consider yourself on the inside to be a beautiful person? And all of my friends said, yes. But the last question that I asked them was, do you believe that on the outside, according to societal norms, you are a beautiful person? And all of a sudden, my friends who moments before were so open with me began to hunch in, and their cheeks got really glossy pink, and they let out these uncomfortable giggles. And every single one of them said no. And I learned that day that these people who I could spend days bragging about, and I will continue to do so, didn't see what I saw in the inside, translating to their outside. And I learned that as we grow, we begin to fall out of love with ourselves. Children are great because every single day they remind us of what we have forgotten how to do while we're learning how to do everything else. And that is being honest with ourselves. When we're young, we have these ideas that when we grow up, we can be an astronaut and a doctor and a lawyer on Thursdays, and then on Saturday, we're probably going to be an Olympic athlete. And we believe that. Because when you love yourself in that humble and true sense, the world is open to every single opportunity that we could ever give ourselves. So what has led us to creating a distinct difference between who we are on the inside in comparison to who we are on the outside? When did our inner person become not good enough? And most of all, what is beauty, and why are some of us allowed to claim it while others of us are not? So in the United States, more than 90% of girls ages 15 to 17 years old want to change at least one aspect of their physical appearance, with body weight ranking the highest. 7 in 10 girls believe that they are not good enough or do not measure up in some ways, including their looks, performance in school, and their relationships. Up to 12% of teen boys are using unproven supplements and steroids, and obese boys and girls have significantly lower self-esteem than their non-obese peers. When I look at these numbers, I find them unacceptable, because that means that for every girl that I know, 90% of them do not believe in themselves. And for every 10 girls that I walk past on the street, 7 of them don't believe that they should be here. But the greatest part about our issues with image is that we don't have to go to Congress or add into the Millennium Development Goals in order to find a solution to them. We don't have to create a budget because our issues with image aren't economic. What is needed is a cultural and behavioral revitalization of what beauty is. When we go through primary school, we're consistently reminded of how to treat one another and the importance of anti-bullying and being kind to everyone around us. All of these things which are incredibly important and beneficial, yet we never sit our children down and tell them how to talk to themselves. Because we have this fear that if we teach our children that self-respect is okay, it's like the first step before full-blown narcissism, which I've never been able to understand, because self-acceptance is not a crime. I don't know if any of you guys have been in a room where a bunch of girls are getting ready together. I know, like, the guys' ears are perked up. They're like, I wish. So a few weeks ago, I had my high school prom, and in the United States, it's a big deal. Like, it's all out, full blown. Girls spend hours getting ready. Like, I got ready at 11 o'clock in the morning in order to be at a dance at 7 o'clock. And when we were finished getting ready, all the girls were standing in a room, and the compliments were like flying off of the walls. It was a competition to see who could say the nicest thing to somebody else. We all do it, right? But every single time somebody would receive a compliment, they'd be like, no, I look terrible, but you look amazing. And that's what we do. We've made it so that we can't even say, yes, thank you, I know. Because as soon as you say, I know, people are like, what do you mean you know? Are you conceited? Are you a narcissist? I don't get it. But the truth is that loving yourself and accepting yourself is completely okay. It's normal. We need to make it necessary. Today, in some ways, I am still that kid who 4 years ago stood in the mirror and picked out all of her flaws. Because loving yourself doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to have the moments where you won't accept yourself. Because loving yourself and accepting yourself are two completely different things. Accepting yourself means that you see those flaws and you don't like them. And you keep them in the back of your head, but you just live with them because that's what you're supposed to do. But loving yourself is completely different, and it goes a little like this. You don't know it, but you are flawlessly flawed. And even as you stand and trace your scars and imperfections, you are still beautiful. Because you can be tall or short or fat or skinny. You can have a disability. You can have no education or multiple college degrees. You can be the most popular one in the room or feel as if you are just a fly on the wall, and still you are beautiful. Because you can be standing in a puddle of your own emotion and self-doubt, and still your beauty is there. And if you feel so compelled as just to reach up in the sky and trace your name among the stars, then you should do that. Because you are rare and unique, and with everything that you do, if you choose to love yourself, the world will stand beside you and scream, yes, we accept you. Because loving yourself is the first step to creating a global community that sees self-acceptance as their new standard of beauty. What we need is a reminder that regardless of what we are labeled, we are all still alive and breathing. And it isn't what we look like that makes the air taste so sweet as it fills our lungs. It's that feeling of knowing that you can grow up and do anything that you want to do, even if you are already grown up. If we don't begin to teach our children the value of self-acceptance, what we're doing is risking our ability as a global community to be able to achieve in the most progressive form and way. I hope that my story can help you in loving yourself and those around you. And I hope that it can help you in searching for the beauty of life instead of just searching in the mirror. Because yes, thank you, I know.